All right, team, listen up. We're diving straight in. This isn't just another study session. This is a critical mission briefing. We're learning to decode a system designed to trip you up. Our target? The multiple choice question. And our objective is simple. We're going to learn how to disarm the test maker's most clever traps using pure precision and logic.
So, first things first, you've got to understand the battlefield. A multiple choice question, it's not just a question with 4 options. No way. It's what I call an architecture of an illusion. You've got one single truth, right? But it's camouflaged, hidden, surrounded by 3 perfectly engineered lies. And these aren't just random mistakes. They are highly effective traps, specifically designed to take advantage of you when you're tired, anxious, and rushing. So, what's their number one weapon? It's something called the distractor trap. And here's how it works. The test makers know, they absolutely know that your eyes are going to jump to the exact words you just saw in the passage. So they literally copy and paste words from the text into a wrong answer. It creates this kind of optical illusion, right? The word is the same, but the meaning is all twisted. So the key takeaway, and you have got to burn this into your brain, is this. Exact word matches are almost always a trap.
Okay, check this out. Let's break down the anatomy of a trap versus the truth. A distractor? It uses those exact words, and it twists the meaning. It feels easy, it feels familiar, and you know what? That's exactly why it's so dangerous. The correct answer, on the other hand, is almost always in disguise. It uses totally different words, synonyms, paraphrases, to say the exact same thing. It forces you to actually decode the meaning, not just recognize a word.
So how do we fight back, right? We don't just go in there guessing, we go in with a plan, a protocol. This is our weapon, the 4-step Disarmament Protocol. It's a systematic, step-by-step method to neutralize every single trap they can throw at you. The steps are simple, but man, are they powerful. Read, locate, break, and eliminate. Let's break down exactly how this works.
Okay, let's get into the first 2 phases, anchor and locate. First, you got to set your anchor. What does that mean? Well, you read the question and you pull out the keywords that can't be changed. I'm talking about proper nouns, names of people or companies, and numbers like dates or statistics. Once you have that anchor, you move to phase 2, locate. You scan the passage for that one specific word or number. You're not reading for meaning yet, you're just looking for your coordinates, your landing zone in the text.
Now, once you've found your landing zone, this is where the most important part of the whole mission begins. Phase 3, engage the brake. I mean it, you slam on the brakes. Your whole strategy has to shift right here. You stop skimming. Instantly, you go from 100 miles an hour to a dead stop. And then, you read the sentence with your keyword, the sentence right before it, and the one right after it. That's it. You read them slowly, word for word, because the answer is hiding right there, in that little cluster of text. This is what we call surgical focus.
And that brings us to the final phase, tactical elimination. Now, this requires a huge mindset shift. Listen closely. You are not looking for the right answer. No, your mission is to find and eliminate the 3 wrong answers. You're hunting for those classic traps we talked about. You've got the exact match trap, you've got the half-truth, the one that starts off looking good but ends with a lie, and then there's the not given trap. It sounds like it could be true, but it's just not in the text. Once you eliminate those 3, whatever's left, no matter how strange it looks, no matter how much it's paraphrased, that's your answer. That's the truth.
All right, protocol briefed. Theory is over. It's time for a live fire exercise. Let's put this protocol into action. Here's our first scenario. The text is all about how companies handle making mistakes, blunders. The question is asking for one of the writer's main points. So go ahead, apply the protocol. Which options can you eliminate right off the bat?
Okay, let's debrief this one. The key sentence in the text, the real heart of it, is that people talk politely around the blunder. Now let's look at our options. A and C? They're just not mentioned. Option D? That's a classic distortion. But then you get to option B, respond differently to errors in the workplace. See that? It's a perfect paraphrase. It uses 0 exact words from that key sentence, but it captures the meaning 100%. That is what a correct answer looks like. Okay, mission number 2. This one's about finding a specific detail. The text talks about the media and what the public is curious about. And the question for you is, what are newspapers trying to do when they print certain stories? You know the drill. Anchor, locate, break, and eliminate. Your turn.
All right, let's break down the trap on this one, because it's a good one. A skimming reader sees the word distortions in the text, and their brain just makes an instant connection to option D, mislead readers. I get it. It's an easy, tempting jump to make. But an operator, Someone like you, using the protocol, engages the break. You slow down, you read carefully, and you see the real key phrase, provide what the public wants. And then you see the perfect paraphrase in option B, meet their readers' expectations. Boom, trap disarmed.
Time for our final and, most complex exercise. This is a global purpose question. These are different. They're not about finding one little detail. They require you to understand the big picture. So the text is about magazine sales and money. The question is asking, what was the writer's whole point in writing this? This is where you have to put all the pieces together.
So let's break this down. A lot of these big global questions have something I call a contradiction trap. Just look at option D to illustrate the advantages of electronic magazines. But wait a second, the text explicitly says that print magazines are doing well despite electronic media. That's a direct contradiction, so we can just cross that one right out. The text keeps talking about rising sales, rising revenue, it's all about growth. So the answer has to be C, to review the continuing popularity of magazines. It just fits the whole story the passage is telling.
So let's wrap all this intel up into what we'll call the operator's toolkit. Think of these as your rules of engagement. On one side, you've got the danger zone. Rule 1, don't read the passage like it's a novel from start to finish. Rule 2, never, and I mean ever, trust an exact word match. And Rule 3, don't bring in any outside knowledge. On the other side, you've got the safe zone. This is where you live. Always follow the 4-step protocol. Always find your anchors. Always engage the break. Success here is a formula. It's that simple. The keywords in the question will lead you to a paraphrase in the text. Find that match, and you've found the truth.
So there you have it. We've pulled back the curtain on the architecture of illusion. We've equipped you with a powerful disarmament protocol, and you've already navigated 3 live-fire exercises successfully. You now have the tools, the tactics, to see right through the camouflage and lock on to the truth. So the only question I have for you is, are you ready for the mission?